And I want to also talk about conversion enhancing design. So the design of the website, which can drastically improve your conversion rate by leaps and bounds. And these are things that are built into the site, the way it functions, the way it's set up, and the flow of it, basically how people use the site. And so with that is the forms, right? So, you would know that you need to put a form. So what should the form ask? Should it be one form? Should it be two forms? How should you deal with all that? And so basically through dealing with different types of forms, and the best that we've really had that we use are short forms. So large forms that ask tons of information right off the bat scare people away. What you want to do is have a short form that only asks for the bare minimum to get the maximum number of people to feel comfortable submitting their information. Because if they see a whole bunch of questions in this form, they might not feel comfortable about it and don't ever bother submitting it. So the way our Lead Propeller websites work is they have a short form that asks for their name, email address, phone number, and address of the house they want to sell. Now, once they submit that form, their information is saved in your Lead Propeller account. It's also emailed to you and texted to you. So we'll talk about that texting in a minute. It's very cool. And it's also a way of knowing instantly that somebody submitted the form. So the website visitor is then taken to a longer form that asks tons of great questions about the house and why they're selling. And so, we've crafted these questions in the second form in a way so they're more inclined to give you the real numbers and the real story about why they're selling. So for example, our long form asks the seller their asking price and then about any repairs or updating the house needs. Then they're asked why they want to sell the house. Now those two questions usually get them to feel the way they felt when they decided that they really needed to sell. And now that they're back into the mindset they were in, we ask what's the least they'd be willing to take for a cash offer and a fast close. And it's amazing. This is almost always much lower than the asking price that they mentioned earlier in the form. Now, how awesome is that? The website does the negotiating for you. It's very cool. And if you set up your own website, go with another system, make sure that this is going on. Make sure that this question is being asked. What's the least they're willing to take for a cash offer and a fast close? Because almost always it's going to be less than what they were asking in the first place. And you also want to make sure you ask how much they owe, because whenever I'm looking at a lead that comes through, I don't typically care as much about what they're asking for the house as what they owe on the house, because people can ask whatever they want for a house, but they most of the time are willing to take much less than what they're asking for. So it's more a matter of how much they owe to see if there's enough equity there for me to be able to buy it at what makes sense for me. So back to the two form system though. If they fill out that first form but do not fill out the second form, you still have their contact info so you can reach out to them. So this is awesome. So if they got scared away by the second one, it doesn't matter because you can contact them. And if you only have a single long form that scares people off, you've got no way of knowing who they were and that you even had a potential lead that was lost. You just don't know. So having this two form system is very powerful. And a bonus secret here, about real world use of this stuff, and this is the power of all of this, the fact that we've been doing this for so long for our own business, and all that knowledge goes into this instead of somebody that comes in that's really never done motivated seller marketing for themselves and their business and learn the ins and outs and what works. It kind of has a disadvantage there. So one thing I've heard other online marketers that provide real estate investor websites tell people is that research shows a form with fewer fields gets higher conversions. And they show you should remove all but the name and email address on your homepage form, and that's horrible, horrible advice. It's true that there's market research, online, the marketing research for online marketing about shorter fields gets a higher conversion rate, okay? Now that is true, but when it comes to our business though, and this is here where that real world experience comes in, you've got to have the phone number on the form. In the past, I've tested actually removing the phone number. Using the advice given, you'd expect to get more leads because more people would be comfortable submitting the form with just their email address and not their phone number. So you think, I'm going to get more leads, and it's going to be even better because people scared to put in the phone number aren't going to like just leave. But that's not really what happened. Here's what actually happened. When you only have an email address, it's very, very difficult to get in touch with the seller. It's a fact. It happened over and over. When I only had the email address, I could never get in touch with them. You've got to have their phone number. And I can almost guarantee you that when I was only getting their email address, they would then go to another website, submit their information along with their phone number because the other guy is asking for the phone number. The other investor was then able to call them and set up an appointment. And since that happened, they didn't need to bother with my emails or getting back in touch with me. They already had talked with somebody, and that's why you've got to have a phone number. You got to get in touch with these people as soon as possible. So real world stuff there. Do not take advice to just have a phone number and email, a name and email address, because you're going to have a hard time getting in touch with them. And if you ever do, it's probably already sold, at that point. You got to move quick. If you are enjoying all this great information, leave a rating and review on iTunes for the podcast. It really helps us out a lot, and I do appreciate it. Stay tuned for more awesome info about online lead generation. Take care.